Benjamin Netanyahu is a cruel and incompetent leader. He's a lot like Vladimir Putin. Neither of these men care how many civilians are killed. Putin doesn't even care about how many of his own troops die, and Netanyahu probably doesn't either. Under Bibi's leadership, the war on Gaza has officially killed about 40,000 Palestinians, about 16,500 of them children, and over 11,000 women. The real totals are higher than that. The war has displaced more than 90% of the Strip's population and created a humanitarian disaster, worsened by Israel's widespread denial of essential humanitarian assistance into the area. Israel has hit more than 500 schools. They struck humanitarian workers, medical facilities, and UN shelters throughout the war, including some hosting many displaced people. The Israelis insist that such facilities are used by Hamas for military purposes, but those claims often lack evidence. This is a recap of one day reported on 17 August. A new Israeli order tells residents of part of the Maghazi refugee camp to flee, further shrinking Gaza's humanitarian zone for the second day in a row. The Israeli military has bombed a warehouse sheltering displaced Palestinians, killing 15 members of one family, including 9 children. The Palestinian Health Ministry says 2 men were killed when an Israeli drone struck a car in the occupied West Bank. Just another day of Netanyahu's terror. And amid the deteriorating conditions, famine and deadly diseases such as polio have spread through Gaza.
With many thousands of dead unaccounted for. Figures from the Palestinian Central Bureau of Statistics show Israeli forces have killed 1.8% of the Gaza Strip's population since October, with 75% of the victims under the age of 30. Among the deadliest single attacks in Gaza came early on Saturday morning when Israel bombed the Al-Tabayin school in Gaza City, where thousands of Palestinians sought shelter. Officials in Gaza say
almost all of Gaza has been hit. Hamas is not destroyed and retains some military strength, but it's severely weakened. Thousands of fighters are dead, and top commanders have been killed. Its leader is isolated from other Hamas leaders. By some accounts, Gazan frustration with Hamas is growing. The group has even agreed to give up civilian control of Gaza, a sign that it's ready to make concessions. However, Washington believes Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is the chief obstacle to a deal. If the Israeli Prime Minister decides to agree to a ceasefire, a new round of elections will be triggered. Netanyahu knows he will lose and then must face trial on his corruption charges. According to one poll, 66% of Israelis want Netanyahu to leave politics. But make no mistake, a higher number than that support his policies. He's the worst prime minister in Israeli history. It's bad enough that he's corrupt. He's also incompetent. Bibi has ongoing trials for fraud and bribery. Netanyahu tried to gut the authority of the Israeli judiciary to help him get out of his cases. That resulted in massive protests by the Israeli people. He's long been cruel to the Palestinian people. But then there's astounding incompetence. For years, he covertly supported Hamas and helped build their strength. Then, despite being warned a year in advance, his inept government was caught completely off guard by the October 7th attack. Not surprising, he's been a real scumbag in his personal life. He's been married 3 times and has had multiple extramarital affairs. He even cheated on his first wife while she was pregnant. His reign of incompetence, corruption, and cruelty will eventually come to an end. After he leaves power, his name will be mocked and cursed. Politicians will attack their rivals by comparing them to the failed leader. The legacy of Benjamin Netanyahu is that his name will end up in the sewer of history of Benito Mussolini and other tyrants. The end can't come soon enough.